Hey everybody, this is Todd.
And I'm Jill.
And welcome to the Soulful Creator Podcast. All right, welcome back everybody.
Hey soulmates.
We are going to talk to you today about some of the people that you're going to find along our journey. Last time when we introed this channel, we talked about some of the people that we hope are going to be coming to us and along this journey, right? So we call them avatar types, right? We're going to talk about a few of the people from all walks of life, and I'm sure that you will probably resonate with a lot of these avatar types. They might even be you. They might even be people that you know, all right? So,
and I just want to mention that, Todd and I, we've been there. We have been through this soulful journey, and so we recognize you. We recognize, who you are. We recognize where you're stuck. And, we want you to be able to realize, am I feeling like these guys get me? And we want you to understand that we know you, because we want you to know that we have the experience to be able to help you and to guide you. So just so you know, no offense taken. When we're talking about ourselves, we are literally going to be talking about ourselves, but hopefully you'll be able to recognize yourself in there and identify whether or not, you're being attracted to this channel for a reason.
Right. And these are the people who are going to be in your play, right? Like the people that you meet every day. And again, I'm going to be some of these. Jill's going to be some of them, which we'll talk in future episodes. But we're going to start with the trauma addict.
The trauma addict.
Okay. Stuck in pain, depression, tired, exhausted. Just a few of the words.
Okay.
So,
all right. So you guys, this whole journey started because that's where I was. Some of you may have read my book, The Rise of the Real Jill, that came out about 5 years ago after my divorce. And so if you want to know the details, you can get the book off of my website, jillrasmussen.com. But what I want to do is to just kind of highlight where I was I call it the old Jill. That was before I knew the real Jill. And so the old Jill, I'd been married 22 years, everything in my life, I thought I had the perfect life. I had what the American dream, the three beautiful, successful children, the picket fence. I had a successful business, and then everything kind of fell away. And we're going to be getting into our stories in more detail in later episodes. But what I want to mention about the trauma addict is that when you're gone through a traumatic situation like a divorce, or separation, or losing a job, or losing a really important relationship, it can be very, very difficult. I was married for a long, long time, and I thought that I had attracted the love of my life, my soulmate, but I didn't. And when everything fell away that wasn't based on truth, I really realized, what real love was and what true love is. And that was more about my journey, about me learning to love myself and not waiting for someone to love me. So the trauma addict, where they get stuck it's blame. They don't really, my old self, I really didn't want to do all of the work. I was resistant to that soul growth and the soul journey. It scared the crap out of me. And so I wanted my partner to be able to just do it for me. But he kept saying, I can't make you happy. This is your journey, Jill. And so the trauma person, how you can identify yourself if you have been through a lot of trauma. Obviously, if you have, that you're hurt, and that you're closed off, and that you're not really feeling good. So part of the soul journey, we're going to talk about what it takes to get your energy in a good place and get out of that energy of pain and kind of raise that to the elevation of the energy of passion. So the trauma addict, and also I want to just mention addict, that comes from being addicted to a certain type of behavior. And that addiction, whether it be shopping or eating or drinking, or I call it sexing, or dating, or computer gaming, or, there's a zillion things that we can do to have addictions. You can be a workaholic, right? If you're addicted to anything, what's happening is you're escaping, and you're not really in your body. And the only thing that you're feeling, what you're doing is you're doing the addiction of escapism, so that you don't have to to feel because you don't want to feel. But we can't heal, as Louise Hayes says, without feeling. That's part of the journey, is to feel to heal. So if you find yourself going through trauma, you're hurt, you're not open, you're addicted to something that's causing you to escape, you're definitely at the right place.
Okay.
Shall we move on?
Moving on.
That was
all right.
kind of
The next one is the settler. Okay, and I have a list here. I've again a few of the attributes of each one. So it's missing out on life, losing time in denial, numb, bored.
And by the way, I have never, I don't even relate with a settler.
Okay.
Todd has to talk about this. I'm a total princess, a total queen, so I'm always dreaming. It's definitely not me.
No, I think that stems from someone who doesn't know their worth,
okay.
right? And then that they look through other people. Like I was at a time where I was very envious of people and where they were in their, I was like, man, I want to be them, right? And so I think what the settler does is that they just don't know their worth, and then they will take anything that kind of comes along and they'll say, well, that's good enough, right? So, and again, this whole process of meeting Jill and all that is the transformation that I've been able to go through is to know a lot about what my worth is, right? And that I do, I am open to a lot of other things that I necessarily wasn't, and I'm not settling for certain things that I would have in the past. And so, and I'm worthy now, I think, of a relationship that I want, and not something that I feel like I'm settling for.
Because you matter, right?
Yeah.
You've had that realization. And, I do remember one time on my journey where someone said to me, Jill, why are you settling? And I thought, how can I be settling when I have such an amazing life, right? Yeah. But, I was settling. And you want to know why? Because I would never have been able to discover my true self and be real and do the things that I was always intended to do had I not trusted the soul journey, right? The soulful journey, to let go of who I thought I was to discover who I really am. So I think, maybe you're going through life and you're feeling like, and maybe you don't even recognize that you're settling, but do you want more? Do you really know yourself? I think are some really good questions to ask. Yeah.
Good. All right, moving on. Number 3 is the soul searcher.
My favorite.
Ooh, tell me more.
My favorite.
Okay.
So the soul searcher, I definitely went through this stage. I remember a time when my kids kind of, had said, Mom, you are so negative, or like you have an issue, like you're not confident. And I'm like, at first I was in denial. And then after I realized and I had that awareness, I'm like, you know what? They're right. I'm not confident. I'm going to go on a journey and I'm going to search. And I got stuck searching for a long, long time. And I took workshops and I developed skills. I went back to college. I started, challenging myself to write books. I was taking all kinds of adventures. I was going on vacations by myself. This is even before I was divorced. And so I was really seeking answers because I was trying to find my soul. I didn't know where it was. I didn't know where I was out there, right? I was searching. And I wasn't, and what happens was you get stuck on dopamine, you get stuck on the new experience, you get stuck on the adventure, right? Climbing mountains and running races. And so a lot of times and I dated guys that were like this after my divorce, where they're always on their motorcycle, off to a new place, right? And as fun as that is to play, because you're definitely feeling, and you're feeling good when you get to the point where you're soul searching, but at what point do you stop playing and actually process what you've learned so that you can get focused and really clear about who you are and how you can grow, right? So you can't get into that growth stage if you're constantly playing and not doing the processing. And so I think that the soul journey will help you if you find yourself in that soul searching mode. Okay,
moving on. Now to the victim. Okay,
Ugh.
Always in blame, negative, stuck in the past. Stuck in the sob story.
Yes, the sob story. In one of my books, I talk about transforming your sob story into a love story, turning it around, right? So I know a lot of victims, and unfortunately, a lot of the victims that I know were women. And that also, I was in that phase before I could really step and stand in my, stand up and create healthy boundaries and create healthy choices.
Right.
You know, I was really kind of in this victimhood. Poor me, poor me. Why did I get dealt such a crappy hand? A lot of really horrible things happened to me after I got separated and lost my business and my identity. And I had to cut myself off from friends that were, you know, not really good friends. And so victimhood can be really hard to rise above that victimhood and realize what are the blessings in the victim story. Because I had a friend say to me, well, Jill, how long are you going to tell yourself that story? Like, when are you going to be done with that story? Can we create a new story, please? Right? So I think that's the main thing about the victim is, raising the awareness and learning the lessons from the victim story so you can take what's with you that's good and leave the rest behind.
Got it. All right, moving on. The know-it-all. I think we've all known something like this. Stubborn in their ways, narrow-minded, self-righteous, black and white thinkers, my way or the highway. I think we've all met somebody who has a lot of opinions on how we should live our lives a lot of times, right? And a lot of times they might be lacking in others, but maybe that comes from a place of worth, right?
And
So-
some people,
Yeah.
I know that, my ex and I had built a really abundant life. We had a really successful business. Sometimes, abundance, just because someone simply
Yeah.
has abundance might make them think, oh, well, I'm successful. I know everything. I don't need to go on a soul journey. I have all the answers. I don't need to believe in any of that foo-foo stuff, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's younger people. Younger people have the answers. They don't have the 25, 30 years of, being beaten down by life to be polished
Exactly.
into a diamond like us older folks.
Right.
So I would say just be aware of the fact that, know-it-alls are all ages.
Are all what?
All ages,
Yes.
all ages.
All ages. All shapes and sizes.
And I
Right.
think, as far as where know-it-alls, do you want
Yeah.
to put your 2 cents in on where know-it-alls get stuck or?
I think it's just in judgment, right? I think it's like they think, again, they come from a certain set of rules that they feel should never be broken, right? But we all know that we're all different kind of people, and I think that's kind of where they get stuck, is that they have that set of belief systems that are just not bending, right?
Yeah, and
they feel one set is for everybody, and it's not.
There's one way,
There's one
right?
way
There's only
on the
one
highway,
way, right?
right?
And that's what I think with know-it-alls. It's like, hey, they're like, I'm on a trajectory of success. I know the right way. I'm moving forward. I don't have a problem. I don't need anybody's help. And a lot of times, we stop growing spiritually because we think until we can get beyond the know-it-all and realize that maybe there's more to be explored and discovered and experienced. And that's the thing, is the soul's always, always open to play with life and have new experiences. And so we have to get beyond that part of ourselves.
Okay. The next one is we call the wise man, or what I call clarity and focus person, right? Which is someone who is a good communicator, storyteller, knows the value of simplicity. I think a lot of that's kind of what my business has been about as far as in the past, as far as trying to make things complicated into things that are simple, right? And a lot of times I feel like I've got some skills that I have tried to bring to our relationship as far as in what we're doing as a project. And so not saying that I know it all, obviously. A wise man is someone who knows that he doesn't know it all, but also brings the value and the wisdom that again, 50 plus years of us bring to the table.
And I think it's great if you're the wise one, right? If you've learned a lot and you have a lot to share and give, but it doesn't mean that you're there yet, because we're never really there yet. It's the journey, right? So where wise people get stuck is they may believe in themselves, and they may believe that that they have the confidence to move forward, but it's that humility thing, right? Can I trust? You've got to get to the point where it's like, can you trust your soul? Or do you believe in yourself enough that you could maybe let go a little bit and trust your soul? Right. So that's where wise people kind of get stuck in the journey.
Okay. Next is it's called It's Up to Me, right?
Yes. And that would definitely be one of the avatars
Lost,
or the characters.
hurt, lonely, poor me, I was wrong, lost myself. These are just some of the words that go with that one. So
Yeah, I was definitely in this space of, hey, I lost my business, I lost my job, I lost my career, I lost my identity, everything that I thought that I was. I got to this point where I was alone. Like, I'd been a mom since I was 16 years old, and then all of a sudden, all my kids were, because they had been living with me during our separation. And then all of a sudden, everybody gets married. I'm in this big house by myself, and I'm rebuilding, and I'm in this phase of, holy crap, there is no one else out there but me. And ego has two parts of it. It has, the not knowing self at all, and then thinking that you're everything, right? And the lower part is, it's up to me. It's all up to me. No one's going to help me. Poor me. I'm on this journey by myself. And so where we get stuck with that is we're not open. When we're in the it's up to me stage, it's very closed off energy of, no one's going to help me because everybody just screws me and I can't trust anybody and I can't even trust myself. That's kind of an up to me energy. And the problem with that is that the soul really needs you to open and be open so that it can help you.
right. And the next one, obviously, she kind of touched on lightly, is it's all about me, right? It's not, and those are the ones who, the ones who are the selfish, the ones that are, everything goes back to them. It's not, the whole thing about community, with community or even connecting with other people doesn't exist usually with that kind of person. So.
Yeah, and I went through this with my ex, and my divorce, and it was like, well, Jill, I'm sorry, like, I don't really care about what you want because this is my life and I'm going to make these choices whether you like it or not. It was all about him. It was all about me. There was no consideration for how, and it was hiding. There was this hiding information and hiding himself and not being willing to be, I don't think that he really knew himself, so he couldn't really be his authentic self. So I just think it's good to point out that when we get stuck in this energy that it's all about me, often it's this take energy, like the universe owes me entitlements.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, you're not really connected with the universe. You're still in ego, edging God out, where it's all about me, and it's what I can get, not what I can give. And that's the opposite energy of what the soul flows towards, which is abundance.
Good. All right, next. The dreamers, or what I like to call the utopians.
Yeah, my
right?
favorite people.
Oh, favorite people. Please tell.
So the dreamers are often elevated in the soul area, where it's like, they really get their soul. They love soul, spiritual realm. They love being connected with the universe. They talk foo-foo language, woo-woo language. They're not grounded at all. They're flying high. They're up here. They're flying in the clouds. And why do I want to get back in that human body, and do that work, right? That's hard stuff. I don't want to climb a mountain. I just want to fly around in my happy zone, right?
So you're saying they want to stay up in that energy up in the air, but they don't want to be on the ground doing the hard work, right?
Right. And so when you're connected, when you're in the spiritual realm, and you might be highly elevated with your soul and be great with your intuition and all about helping everybody else, but at what point do you come back to the earth element, come back into the body, get grounded, and do the work? Right. That's what you're here for. And that's what your soul knows you're here for. But you have to remember that there's soul work to do while you're in a body. And so we have to get back and get grounded. And that's where we kind of get stuck in that particular character type.
Okay. Next. This is a good one.
Okay.
The soul connector. Right?
Love the soul connector.
I know my soul. I am love. I am abundant. I know what my gift is. I think we have so many examples of this in our own family, right? Of our children who are just doing these wonderful soul projects about the things that they love to do, and they're connecting with so many people out there. It's just amazing to see how this young group of people in their 20s and early 30s that are they get it, right? They get the whole thing about what it's like to connect with your soul, and they're doing those projects that they love to do. It's a great example for us, for older people who are who may be a little bit stuck in doing the projects that we want to do. And now we're finally doing something here.
Right,
With our
finally.
podcast, finally. So we've had a lot of great examples of our kids doing these wonderful projects, and now has given us, kind of some confidence to say, hey, we can keep up with these kids, right?
Right.
Exactly.
And the millennials, they're younger, and their souls haven't been on the earth as long, and they haven't been contaminated and forgotten the truth like we have.
Or beaten.
The older
into submission.
Generation X has a lot
Right.
more work to do. We've been kind of paving the way. But the soul connectors, they're really to remind us about the soul and the truths about the soul. And so, as Todd mentioned, my daughter is a famous cookier, and he's got a daughter-in-law that's famous foodie. And we've got my other daughter is doing great with her graphic design business. And so we see our kids doing these passion projects. And there's definitely, we need to watch them shine and learn from them. And because they are remembering, and they are showing us the way. Where the soul connectors get a little bit off course again on the soul journey is to remember that they're not just there to help everybody else. Soul connectors can be so loving and so giving and so in their passion that they forget that there's actually some very important soul work to do on the planet. And that they, as an individual personality, a soul, matter, and that their growth matters. And it's not just about others. And so we're going to talk about they're more of an elevated avatar, but they also are on the journey with us. And if you find yourself in that position, you're going to find some golden nuggets on how to get back in the body and do the soul work.
Right. I do have to shout out to my daughter, who's also, I feel,
That's
one
right,
of
Haley.
these ones. Haley, her Happy Brain. Go check her out.
Doing amazing
doing
stuff.
amazing things. And so again, we have so many examples of our kids that are really doing a wonderful job in connecting with all these different people out there. So, again, soul connectors, and we really have appreciated the help that they've even the advice that they've given us for this.
They've been great sources of inspiration. So we love the soul connectors, and that's one of the avatars that through this community, hopefully you'll be able to find others like that and connect with them to do great things.
Great. All right, next up is survivors, the right fighters.
Okay, so we have kind of a category of people that we call the reactors, or the right fighters, or the survivors. They're kind of all the same. They come from this energy and this place, and it's more of a lower energy of I'm not okay. The universe is against me. Bad things happen to me, and because of that, I'm putting up my walls. I'm blocking. I'm in blocking mode, and it's in fear basically. They're basically reacting from a place of fear because they have a need to survive. And it's the problem with reactors is, do you want to tell read us some of the traits of a reactor?
Angry, feel wrong, it should or shouldn't be this way. Willpower and determination, wants to prove worth to everybody.
Okay, so when you're in that energy, it's like you don't really recognize your own worth is part of the issue. And you're coming from a place of lack and limitation. And so overcoming and rising above reaction is what we have to do to get into creation, meaning conscious creation. Because when we're reacting, we're reacting unconsciously. We're not really aware. We're just instinctual, animalistic creatures that are trying to survive this hard world. And it's not really in balance with your soul and bringing truth through, because the soul is aligned with abundance. So we can definitely help you if you find yourself reacting to fear or thinking that you're barely surviving. If those words kind of ring true to you, you're in the right place.
Okay. All right, we've got two more. Next one is the rebuilder. Okay, this is something that I know very well.
We both do.
Yes, of being divorced recently, and some of the traits here has a positive attitude, intuitive, connected with soul, has surrendered and accepted reality. I have done that. I think I'm ready to move on. A lot of times you do get caught in a few things that aren't actually good for you, but for the most part, I'm someone who wants to. Again, I'm 50, and when you're rebuilding at 50, you don't have a lot of time, right? You're wanting to make sure that you're doing everything every day. So time is of the essence, and things that you don't want to waste time. You want to make sure that every day is full of productive things that you're working towards, right?
And I think the challenge for the rebuilder is realizing that you really do have time because you're an infinite spiritual being, right?
Oh.
So time and not buying into that lack about time and realizing,
Again,
right? I've been there too. I've been there too. We're both rebuilding.
Yes.
I've had like, after having my business for 15 years, I've had like 3 or 4 different jobs in the last 5 years, and holding it all together as a single woman with a roommate and investment properties and the job and the sales pressure. It is not an easy road to rebuild. But it's exciting because you don't need to rebuild what we've already done. Been there, done that. We can rebuild something new. We can rebuild a stronger character, someone that's more confident, right? To take on the world, to step into our greatness. And so rebuilding can be a really exciting thing if we can get past the fact that we're angry that we are rebuilding.
Right.
Which I definitely have been there. I mean, I've broken up relationships that were really great because I was so angry that I was rebuilding. And I was just projecting that anger onto whoever I was dating. And it's not a great energy to be in. And so we have to really start to look at rebuilding as if it's a huge blessing in your soul journey.
Right. Okay. Our last one is the legacy leader. Okay. These are, again, one of those higher elevator types of, as far as the energies and things, but kind of I see as people who are really in alignment with their whole life, right? They have, again, we talked about the human, me being the human side, we're going to tell the story, and Jill being the soul side, right? The legacy leader is someone who really is in alignment with both and has a lot of their stuff together, right? Who are making a difference and actually leading people to some really cool places, right?
And doing some great things
work
for the collective, right? Mm-hmm. So I think the thing about the legacy leader, and that's really the most elevated state after you get through the soul journey, we're all trying to get to the point where we are being a soulful creator. Right. Another name for that is a legacy leader, meaning that your soul knows its truth, you know your worth, you're aligned with abundance, and you're living your truth because you know your truth, and you've practiced alignment. Because what happens when we practice alignment is we might start remembering our truth and realize that we deserve better, but living that on a daily basis is a roller coaster for a while until we get really good and we can hold that line of that higher vibration. So legacy leading is really understanding what being a soulful creator is all about, and that's practicing it on a daily basis with the intention of leaving a legacy behind, of creating truth, something that's helpful for the collective, a passion project, a business, working with others, being a mentor. It's things like that. Is how can I take my truth and and then bring that through me as a human being? How can I have the human part of me serving my soul? Because the soul and the human, they really work together in creating truth and love and beauty and joy on the planet. And so that's what it really means to be a legacy leader and a soulful creator.
Okay. All right. Well, that's our list. And now if we've missed any that you think that we, again, missed, let us know.
Yeah,
let
comment.
us know in the comments below, and we will talk about them at a future date. But
hopefully you guys are starting to get a feel for what this soulful community is all about. We're going to be teaching the soulful journey, and you'll find yourself go through all of these avatar stages as you get on a trajectory towards truth. And we're really excited, and we wanted you to kind of recognize yourself so that you will know that you're in the right place, and that we're gonna through us and with us as we do our soulful journey, we'll be able to learn together. And that starts with kind of and being aware of the energy that you're embodying. And we need to know that because as we embody energy, one of my famous sayings from my book is, you act what you attract, okay? So if you want abundance, you have to act abundant. If you want love, you have to act love to attract love. And so that's what we're gonna talk about in the next episode, is how can we be responsible for our energy that we are embodying so that we can be careful about what we're, the soulmates that we're attracting, because those soulmates are there to basically, give you that reflection, right, of who you are being, to help you be accountable, so you can do kind of an inventory of who you're being and what kind of a life you're creating and what you're doing on the planet.
Great. All right. Well, as you can see, she is the star of the show.
Whatever.
I'm
He's
just
great.
here. I'm just the eye candy that I guess of all that. So
He's pretty
anyway,
cute, I have to admit.
Anyway, well, hope
He's
you
a good
like.
soulmate.
Hey, we want to subscribe on the button, however you say that. Make sure that
Follow
you
us.
follow us. Tell us to your.
We're just
your
getting
share.
started. We have
We're
a
getting-
lot to share, and we're
Yeah.
excited to be on this journey with you. And we'll
we're
see you on the
excited.
next episode.
All right. Take care.